Melissa.
And this is
The Jaywalkers Recovery Podcast.
Hey everyone, this is Kevin with the Jaywalkers Recovery Podcast. Today in the studio, I have a very good friend, ROBB C. Sobriety date, February 3rd, 2016. Rob, how are you doing?
Man, I'm blessed. No complaints. Oh, man, by the grace of God.
It's really good to have you here in the studio today.
Yeah.
I've never heard your story.
Yes.
We've hung out many a times.
Yes.
My most fond memory of us is at Camp Magruder.
Yes.
We and for those of you that aren't local, Camp Magruder is a men's retreat. Probably 100 men go on this annually down at the beach in Rockaway. And, we just have a good time. We eat like pigs.
Yes.
We camp out. We tell stories. We have usually a retreat master who kind of brings us through the steps. It's a very spiritual weekend. There's a lake there, and then the beach.
Yep.
And we will walk down about a mile to the pier and climb up on the rocks and just feel that wind, feel God's breeze.
Oh man, beautiful.
And then go back, get some ice cream cones, stuff our face,
Yep.
eat some barbecue. Good times.
Great times. Oh man, it's beautiful to be here, man. By the grace of God, it's kind of weird too, because when you called me up for this, man, I was like, wow. I was kind of nervous, and it's funny too, because I've been clean for some years, man, and I just started getting butterflies and start all these thoughts from childhood all the way up to now was going through my head this morning before, I really got out of bed to come here. Just realized how blessed I am, how blessed me and my wife are. But I went through a lot, and starting from my childhood, me, myself, I'm 51 years old right now. Been clean for going on 8.5 years now. And it started back when I was like 15 years old. I was born and raised in South Central LA, to paint this picture so you can get an understanding of my upbringing and my surroundings. South Central LA back in the early 80s was drugs and gangs. And it was, I seen a lot of different families. My family was the hardworking mom, the hardworking dad that was at work 80% of the time, and me and my brother was stuck at home after school, hanging out with homies, was supposed to be doing our homework. But that'll paint the picture of my upbringing. I had some great parents, and with that being said, even they went through a hard time of building up what they had. To take it back a little further, my stepdad brought me up at, when I was 2 years old. He was my dad that I knew. He went through alcoholism and pill popping. And to see him go through his addiction and to see him come out of it, I seen that from a little kid to teenager years, and it's like, wow, okay, and then me hanging out with drug dealers and gang members trying to figure out life. Even though I had a good home, and my dad came out of that, him and my mom went through a lot, but they still built a solid foundation at home, always had solid foundation for us. My dad always put in me that get out there, work, and do what's right. You know what I'm saying? So that'll paint my home picture, and with that being said, just coming up in that era of South Central LA back then, man, it was rough, even from my dad and my aunts and uncles all drinking alcohol. And that's all that's what I knew, like I said, trying to figure it out as a teenager, selling drugs as a young teen, wanting to be like my big homies, riding lowriders and all of that. So anything from happily drinking and smoking weed was frowned upon in my neighborhood. I was always taught by my big homies, you are never to smoke sherm, and you are never to get high off your own supply. So that was frowned upon. So for me, it started as me being a hardcore alcoholic. You know, it started off as fun, you know, hanging out with my uncles.
Real quick,
Yeah.
for those that don't know, what's sherm?
Yes. Thank you. With that being said, let me give you a quick description. Sherm is it's a cigarette, and it's dipped in. It was these little bottle, these little small vials, these little small bottle vials, were filled up with dead people fluid.
Oh shit!
It's what they pump dead people with, a bottling fluid or whatever,
Yeah.
you know.
Formaldehyde?
Yeah, that chemical and other chemicals.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, you dip a cigarette in there, turn it upside down, let it go in. And I seen this through seeing big homies of mine getting high off this stuff. And I never wanted to try it because to see them freak out from running down the street a-hole naked and losing their mind, it's like, hell no, I'll never want to do that. And I seen so much. I was exposed at a young age because, like I told you, I was selling drugs as a teen, and I was doing it real low key, you know, to hide it from my parents, you know, until my dad caught me stashing money up under my mattress. You know, I think my brother told on me. I remember my brother told me, he said, hey, man, put me on. And I was like, no, man. And, yeah, I think he told Dad that I was stashing money up under this mattress and I was hustling. But to get to my my alcoholism, man, it started young, man. I started hanging out with my uncles and friends, and it was always partying, having fun, and females and hanging out, and and went from that to me getting into bars at the age of 16. And the reason the way I did that is all the friends I hung out with, they own businesses, they own bars, they own restaurants. So yeah, long as I carried myself very mature at my age. Sometimes was when I wasn't drunk off my my behind, but yeah, it started off fun, man. Jumping bar to bar and club to club, with my uncles and hanging out and hanging out at the house, getting drunk with my uncles and them, and until life took a turn, man. To where I started getting so drunk to where I was having blackouts. I remember one embarrassing, funny ass moment was, excuse me, was when I was hanging out with my uncle. We was hanging out with some friends, and I'm hanging out at the homegirl's house, and got so drunk off my ass, man, to where I blacked out, and I woke up the next morning, and I can remember vaguely what happened. And they told me when I got up off the couch, I was knocked out, sleep. And when I got up off the couch to go use the restroom, I thought her refrigerator was the restroom. I opened up the refrigerator, moved the top off the pot of some greens, and I started pissing in her greens. Oh, man. So it's like, I was, wow, man, that's bringing back memories. I was the laughing stock in the neighborhood for a couple of weeks behind that. I remember going back a couple of days later after I sobered up. It took me a while. I remember going back, man, and just walking into the building and this was in Inglewood, California. So I don't know if people know how those buildings were. They were like, when you walk into those apartment buildings, it's like you come into a big old like open area, and all the apartments are up above, and it's like it's in a circle. So if people are hanging off of their balconies and, talking to each other across their balconies, they see everybody coming through the front gate. And I think my uncle warned some of the friends there. So when I came there, man, the whole building was laughing at me, clowning me. And I remember fun times like that, man. But, it was blackout after blackout after blackout. And that's when everything started taking a turn to where I was dependent on alcohol daily as a young teen. I started allowing my addiction with alcohol ruin some relationships. It took a toll on me, physically and mentally and even emotionally. Even when I start going through things in life, okay, let me go get me a bottle. Back then, we drank Old English, a 40-ounce bottle, Old English was the drink back then, I remember going to Boys Market right there in Hawthorne, California, and I remember me and my uncle going in there and getting Old English bottles for 99 cents, man.
2 of those would get you silly.
Oh.
80 ounces of oldie.
Woo! All plastered
for
off
$2.
your ass. Plastered.
For $2.
Oh. But we would walk out of there like, me and him both, man, like we were walking out of there with 2 bagfuls, 4 bottles in each bag. And it's like, wow, seriously? And this is just for me and him, and that just get an understanding of how much alcohol that is, man. That's crazy. But me and my uncle, we would have these blackout hangouts, bumping music and just getting plastered together and to where it wasn't fun anymore, And I went through that spell on and off, and, from that, I can say I graduated to drugs. I went through my teens with alcohol, and when I got to I think I was like 20 years old, I was hanging out with some friends, and like I said, back then, and I want to go back to the part of me hustling in the streets. That's always been a part of my life, most of my adulthood. I'm 51 years old, and to give you a picture of my honest day of work always been when I was 15 years old, but I've always had some hustling on the side too, because that's what I was brought up around. That was my surroundings. That ain't the way my mom and dad raised me, but that's the way the hood raised me. And I was with the hood most of the time when my dad and mom was out making a hard living and feeding us. So I allowed myself to get into some situations that was frowned upon with my family members. And it wasn't proud moments. But, by the grace of God, I got out of some of it, man. And, I'm here today. But we'll get to that. But I graduated to drugs because I was hustling real big time, like making a lot of money. And I remember the day that a friend of mine, real close friend of mine that I was selling drugs with back then, we'd meet up at a club, at a bar, matter of fact. I remember it like it was yesterday. He said, "Hey, man, meet me at this bar. I got this female I want to introduce you to. I want to talk to you about something. I got something that's going to help you, man. Stay up all night, man. And you always wonder how I stay up all night and make all this money. And I got something I want to turn you on to." I'm like, all right. So I'm like, kind of like, whoa.
How old were you at this time, you think?
I would say I was like 20 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. I was 20 years old, making a lot of money, had it going on for myself. To where even my dad was like, "Man, okay, You're driving around in limousines. You're driving around in fancy cars. What are you doing? To get to the bar where I was meeting up with my friend, I met up with my friend at the bar. And this is when I got turned on to hardcore drugs. You know, I was always brought up on weed and alcohol, and that was it. Like I said, back then, everything was frowned upon, anything other than that. So my homie, he meet me at the bar, introduced me to this female and introduced me to his little female friend. We're drinking, having fun at the bar. He gives me the tap on the shoulder. He said, come holler at me. So we leave the ladies at the bar. Me and him, we go in the restroom. He said, remember that stuff I was telling you about? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, man, what is this stuff, man? It ain't cocaine or nothing. That's what we making money off that, bro. I'm not about to do that. And he's like, no. This right here, it's that wake-up juice. I'm like, wake-up juice? He's like, yeah. I'm like, what is it? He said, it's speed. Speed? What the hell? I'm like, man, I ain't sniffing nothing. I ain't smoking nothing. No, I don't do that, you know. And that's the thought of how I was brought up. Like, stuff like this was frowned upon, man. You are not to do it at all. And he said, bro, you see me, you see how good I'm doing. And I mean, he was the one that I was with. He showed me the ropes of hustling. So me seeing him doing so good financially, all these jewels, the women, I was encouraged to do like he was doing, you know? I want to be like him. That's the type of attitude. So it's like anything he doing, I want to do. So just to paint the picture, to give you an idea of how I was feeling at the time. And I'm like, shit, if you doing it, I'm going to do it. Yeah, line it up. I said, but I ain't sniffing it. Matter of fact, can I put it in my drink or something like that and drink it? And he's like, yeah, go get your drink real quick. And I'm like, all right. So I went to the bar, got my drink off the bar table, went back to the restroom, and he lined it up on a little ID, bam, chopped it down, and he poured it in my drink. I stirred it up, man, and I'm like, bam, just instantly, whoa, like, whoa, what the hell? I said, it's nasty, but man, it gave me a boost. And just that feel good, like, ooh, that uplift that I had. Man, wow, this is just crazy just thinking about it right now. The uplift that I had back then, that feeling I had was unbelievable, man. And I was like, damn, bro, you've been holding out on me all this time. You know, just feeling that feel good, feeling the moment right then and there, not knowing, man, that I was entering a dark gate of hell, man. Not knowing. With that being said, me and him, we go back into the bar, hang out with the homegirls and them, and, you know, then he gave me something from my pocket. Here, bam, gave me a little bag. I'm like, oh, cool, good looking out. He said, man, and he gave me some instructions. He said, man, whatever you do, bro, don't do too much. This stuff is very strong. You're a beginner in this. Take it easy. You know, this stuff can have you up for days. Whoop-de-whoop. You know, if you get too high, you drink some milk, it'll bring you down. He's giving me all these instructions on what to do with this stuff, man. And I'm like, wow, okay. And, yeah, man, it just, life went on with getting high off that, making a lot of money off my drugs, enjoying life, going through the roller coaster of drugs and alcohol, man, and feeling good at the time, you know, and to where I started seeing other family members and friends doing this. But like I said, this stuff is frowned upon. So it's like they were doing it, but we had to keep it low key. Nobody outside of this circle of doing this type of drug is to know that we're doing this drug. So that's how tight the circles were of doing this, you know, and wow, it's just crazy, man. To where, like I said, life was, I entered through I entered through a gate of darkness when I got into that speed. And speed, for those that don't know, is meth. They call it meth today. It's different names. It was meth. It was glass back then. I started getting connected to some real dark people, man, through that drug game, using it and selling other stuff, to where I even got connected. I was thinking about this morning. I got to share this moment. When I was selling drugs, man, I always thought that as long as I took care of those around me, that good karma would stay around me. And with that being said, I remember taking care of one of the homegirls, man, that was off heroin. And she was real bad, man. She was like out there. And I remember her scooping her up off the streets, putting her in a hotel room for a whole week, man. I paid for her hotel room. And back then, hotels, little rundown hotels wasn't nothing, especially with me making all this money daily, thousands and thousands of dollars daily. It wasn't nothing. I put the homegirl up in the hotel room, and at the end of that week, she came off. I was feeding her every day, checking on her every day. I even told my homies or whoever that was connected to the drug that she liked, made sure that they didn't serve her, give her no drugs. I wanted her to sober up and get back on her feet, right? And with that being said, I didn't know what I was getting myself into, which it was good back then, but I was getting myself deeper into the game, getting connected with somebody that was, some people that was very, very heavenly connected into this game of drugs. And I didn't know her brother was the head of a biker gang. I'm not going to mention no names, for safety purposes, but yeah, I took care of her so well to where at the end of the week when she sobered up and she's feeling good again, she's like, man, I heard you connected with this and this and that. I want to connect you with my brother and whoop, whoop, whoop. And I'm like, well, okay, who's your brother? So I'm trying to question her before I go because I was very cautious of meeting people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was a lot of setups back then from gangs and police. So, I'm trying to get the scoop. And come to find out, she told me her brother was like connected. He was like the head of this biker gang, and he was real big time in drugs. And that was with meth. Speed, we called it back in. So yeah, she went to go introduce me to him, man. And I'm gonna let everybody know, man, those that don't know, that's naive to this world it's just certain people that certain people don't mess with. Me being black, some biker gangs, they're all white. They don't mess with blacks. They don't mess with nobody outside of their race. And I was one of those first ones that he connected with business-wise and family-wise because he showed me a lot of love and he gave me protection too when I needed it because I took care of his sister. And it's just like that was another door being opened up of just receiving stuff without any strings attached and just getting deeper and deeper into this dark life and this dark world of drugs. And wow, man, it's mind blowing just sitting here talking to you right now, Kevin, about this. It's really bringing back some memories on what God allowed me to come through, man, to where I am today. And from there, I had spurts of getting clean here and there, getting busted with drugs and alcohol, drugs in my car and going through these little drug programs and getting high, going through the programs and trying to manipulate the system. So I really didn't look for no sobriety back then. I went through many, many years of getting high and getting drunk, on and off, hiding it from my mom and my dad, hiding it from certain friends and family members, especially meth, dude. What? Back then, that was a biker gang's drug. They're the ones that, they say they're the ones that started with that, but, we know it started way before them, but they're the ones that distributed that. So me, a young black kid from South Central LA, doing meth back then, bro, what? I better not get caught even being around none of that, It was really frowned upon. So I hid it. I hid that addiction for many, many years, man, to where it started to show that something was going on with Rob. You know, what's going on with Rob? It ain't weed. It ain't alcohol. You know, what's going on? You know, oh wow, getting emotional thinking about it. I remember getting that phone call from my brother, my younger brother, you know, and it's just me and my brother that was brought up together. We're the only siblings. I remember getting that phone call from him, and he asked me, man, what's going on with you, bro? I see you life is taking a turn with you, and you're not taking care of yourself. What's really going on? I said, nah, man, I'm good. You know, just going through a rough patch. We'll, you know, try to brush it off, try to hide it. He said, all right, man, you know, you can get in touch with me anytime. Let me know. And this, you know, this is my younger brother, acted like my big brother because I was the one doing more drugs and more alcohol than anybody can even think about, man. So I wasn't acting like big brother. I was acting like the little brother mentally and emotionally, you know. So my little brother always was that one, man, always reached out to look out after me. And, you know, my dad too, you know, when he had the time, he would pop up on me.
How many years between you two?
Me and my brother, oh, Lord, you would do that to me right now. I'm 51, and I think he is 49.
Okay,
I think we're
2 years.
Yeah, 2 or 3 years, yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he would have those phone calls, you know, and then he would start connecting with some of my close friends and family members, and he started hearing rumors that I was on drugs. Then I got that phone call again from him. What the hell, man? I hear you fucking with meth. What's going on with you? And I'm like, what? Who told you that lie? You know, and I'm trying to backpedal and, you know, nah, man, they lying on me. Well, you know, and I would get those phone calls from my mom, and she'd be like, you know, I'm hearing some rumors. Are you okay? And, you know, you can always reach out to us and talk to us. You know, your dad went through that type of stuff, and he got the resources, and, you know, he can help you if you're going through any type of addiction. And, you know, I just lied, man. I said, no. You know, I'm just going through life right now. I'm going through a rough patch. No, I wouldn't touch that. You know, no, that ain't the way we was brought up. And, you know, it's just lying through my teeth, man. Up for 4 or 5 days straight, you know, going through life the way that I was going through it at the time and the way I handled it at the time. You know, when I ever went through anything that would hurt me, or a friend get killed, or a family member going through it, the way I numb my feelings and numb myself was drugs and alcohol. That's the way I was coping. So I went through that spell on and off for many years, trying to hide it. And these rumors, you know, and it's funny too. And, you know, I'll end with that segment of that. I remember one time I was coming out of one of my little drug spots. And to give you an idea of how big I was, I had people working for me. So, you know, I was checking on them, seeing my little homeboys across the street, my Mexican homeboys across the street. Hey, what's up, Rob? I'm like, hey, what's up, man? You know, and then I would walk down the street to the meth dealer's house, sneak in through her back door, because anybody know she's connected with the biker gang, so they know if I'm going in there, that don't mix. Something is up. You know, it sends up red flags. And I don't know, man, I got high in there, man, and wasn't thinking. And instead of sneaking out the back door like I came in, I went out the front door. And my Mexican homies, they sitting across the street. And they're like, what the And you can just see all of them, like, they're shocked. Like, what the hell? What is he coming out of there for? And I even seen one of them, he jogs over to me, and he even says, hey, bro, what's going on in there, man? Bro, that's a different vibe, man. What's going on in there don't mix with your life. are they buying what you selling? And, he started asking questions. It was really, like I said, it was really frowned. It's just certain things don't mix, like oil and water. And that's what it was. I was mixing oil and water when I got into that world. And so red flags start going up. My people start seeing things and start hearing things, and they start asking questions and start being like, whoa, okay, Rob is mixing with those people. What's going on with him? To where it got so bad, fast forwarding, to where it got so bad to where I wasn't making money no more. Rob was just getting high. Rob was just getting by every day, getting high, getting drunk. It wasn't fun anymore. It wasn't joyful anymore. It wasn't no parties anymore. It was just getting high and trying to hide from those that don't know and that wasn't in that circle. Fast forwarding to where I moved out of the LA area out to Portland, Oregon, where I am now. And back then, the way my mindset was, okay, I need to change my area so I can get my life under control, because that's how bad it got. I remember getting that phone call from my uncle. My uncle was the one that I hung out with back in the days, drinking and partying, and he was that one that always kept me in check. My uncle was that one to where he was like my big brother. We even look alike, and people thought we were brothers. So that uncle, that was my uncle that I hung out with daily, and he wasn't the uncle that I was carrying the 40 ounces with. That was his big brother, but my Uncle James, he was that one, man. He always kept me in check. And I remember calling my mom and my dad and telling them I was moving to Portland, Oregon so I can get my life together. And by that time, my mom and them knew, I had a drug addiction problem, So, I told them, hey, I'm moving to Portland, Oregon. I met this girl in Long Beach, California. She moved me up here. Her family looked out for us. So, that's how I ended up in Oregon. Damn near 20 years ago. And I remember getting that phone call from my Uncle James, and he told me, what are you doing? I said, what do you mean I'm doing? What am I doing? I'm trying to get my life together, man. I figured I would move out here to Portland, Oregon. My uncle was one of those ones, he don't sugarcoat shit. I'm just going to keep it 100. He don't sugarcoat nothing, man. He keeps it 100. He ain't going to come at you soft.
God bless him.
Yes. I love him to the day. And I every year I get sobriety under my belt, I always give them these phone calls of appreciation. Because that ain't the only phone call he's given me. And I'll let you know further on in. But he gave me that phone call, and he's like, what the hell are you doing, bro? And I'm like, well, I'm moving to Portland, Oregon. Got baby girl out here. She put me up, and her family going to look out for me and get back up on my feet. And he's like, what? He said, bro, you BSing, bro. And I'm like, what do you mean? I just told you what I'm doing. No, man, I'm going to keep it 100, man. See, your mom and your dad and everybody else, they sugarcoat this shit for you, man. You a goddamn fool, man. You tripping. And I'm like, whoa. He came at me hard. You tripping. You need to get into a drug program, man. You need to go and get some resources, man, that's going to get your life back together. Moving to a different area, you still have that craving. You still have that problem in you. The problem is you. And I was like, shit. I was like, okay. That was like a smack in the face, man. Because everybody around me is like, okay, Rob, yeah, you can do it. And, the sugarcoating, the pom-poms cheering for me, but not coming at me like my uncle would come at me. And I love him, man, to this day, man. That's my G, man. He always kept it 100, man, since I was coming up. I partied with him, hang out with him, but he always drew the line. All right, man, you're doing too much. Man, let's roll. You know what I'm saying? He was always that one that kept me in check all through my life. So yeah, man, he was the phone call I didn't want to have. You know, I ain't gonna lie. You know, and I was like, oh man, whatever, man. All right, Uncle, all right. You know, and he ended up hanging up on me, and I had a little attitude, and I ain't gonna lie, I went and got high right after I got off the phone with him. That's how stupid I was. And he was right. I was the problem, you know. So yeah, Rob came up here, myself. talk about myself in third person. Rob C came to Portland, Oregon with his habit, his drug addiction, thinking I was gonna change.
We got drugs here in Portland too,
Oh,
Rob.
thank you. That's exactly what he said. He said, man, you in Oregon. What? You can say that again. That's exactly what my uncle said. He said that, man. He said, they got drugs out there too, fool. You ain't running from nothing. Matter of fact, Oregon is like one of the capitals for that shit. The same people you connected with down here in LA, man, they up there too. You know, it's just, that's what drug addiction will do to you, man. It blinds you, man. You don't have the common sense. You don't know the wherewithal. You're driving off of that feeling, you know, and that's, you know, feelings can be very dangerous and they can be very good, but it's the way you maneuver with them. And I've learned that, you know, through my sobriety, and we'll get there. But yeah, man, Uncle had that talk with me, man, and it just slapped me with reality. And he wasn't lying, man. I came up here with my addiction hardcore, you know. And it's funny because baby girl that brought me up here, I was getting high with her in Long Beach, and she was like, man, let's go up to my family. They'll look out for us, and maybe, you know, me and you can get it together. And I'm like, okay. And I went through that patch of life with her, you know what I'm saying? You know, roller coaster. Me and her both getting high every day. Whoa, man, she's taking care of me. She's going to work. I'm street hustling. You know, the same agenda. Ain't nothing changed. To fast forward up to me coming out of it a little bit, to where I start hustling again and making big money out here in Oregon. It's like, okay, damn, I'm back on my feet. I got me a car. Oh, shit, got my own roof over my head. Okay. Oh, yeah, I'm maneuvering. I'm doing it. Okay. I think I can do this. And this is still without getting sober through a program. It's just like, okay, enough is enough. That's the way I think I can do it. You know, I can do this by myself type attitude. To where me and baby girl, we got separated. She went her way. I went my way of, you know, a few years being together and all that. I started hustling real big time, started looking good outside. People don't know that I'm still, you know, going through hell inside, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. But I was a real good manipulator, man. You know, and it's funny too. It takes a real man to receive and to know what he is when it's not good. And I gotta admit, man, I was a manipulator. I manipulated my whole family, my friends, my relationships. I lied my ass off through it all, man, all through my drug addiction and my alcoholism, man, from teenage years up to an adult. I was the master manipulator, man. I made myself look good when I wasn't good. I treated people well, yeah, here and there. Looked out for my surroundings here and there, but I still, man, I was going through hell, man. I was going through hell. And a lot of people didn't know it because I always kept a good smile, always looked out for people around me, you know, and that even comes with people pleasing, which is not good because I'm always looking out for others and not even myself. So to fast forward to my life now and to get to the good part of sobriety, I end up getting into the club scene out here in Portland, Oregon. I was, promoting clubs, doing limousine rides to clubs, all this and that, the party scene. And even then, it was just only alcohol and weed, but I kept it under control for a small period of time. Making money on the side, street hustling, staying by myself, staying single, wasn't attached to nobody. And with that being said, life was looking good, but I wasn't feeling good. I was still depressed. With all of that, it was some things that I went through. Leaving my kids behind with, in California. My oldest daughter being raped. So this will tell you the dark things that I had to deal with through my drug addiction and what I use as an excuse to do drugs. Okay, my daughter got raped. Bam, okay, freak. Oh, I can't get my hands on the dude that did it, which was her mom's husband at the time. So these are the dark things I was dealing with, man, and it was very hurtful and very, very dark at the time. I ain't gonna lie, I was going for a suicidal mode. That's how high I was getting when I was in California, But when I got up here in Oregon, I tried to live my life the best way I can without really getting any help through all the trauma and all the things I went through in life. Knowing that my dad has had many years through AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, for those that don't know, which is a great family, a great organization, a great group of people that has been saving lives for many years. So with that being said, my dad resting in peace right now, man. That was my guy, man. He, with him, man, being sober and my aunts and uncles getting sober through this program, I knew it was a way. Like Mom said back then, your dad can help you. He's here for you anytime when you're ready. And so when I was living that glamorous life and I met my wife that I'm with now in the club, I met her and her beautiful friends, group of girls. I'm at the club. I'm hosting a party. I got the limousine bus outside, me and my partner. We're hosting a party of like 20, no, it wasn't 20 people because the bus only took 20. So I think we had like 15 people with us. And my wife right now had her friends, and it was like her and like 5 of her friends. They were there celebrating for something. I seen them across the club, and I had my godbrother with me. I tapped him on the shoulder. I was like, hey, while I'm here hosting this party and serving these people their drinks, go over there and see what's up with baby girl and them over there and, them young ladies over there, see what's up, Maybe they can join us on the bus and go to the other clubs, And he's like, all right, got you. So that's how I met my wife today, man, was in that club. And fast forwarding through me promoting clubs and hustling out here, I got back heavily into the using meth and pills and drinking alcohol uncontrollably again. I went through spurts of slowing down. And when I met my wife, that was one of the times that Rob was looking good on the outside, but she really didn't know what was going on in the inside with me. All my wife seen was this handsome young black man, got his stuff halfway together, and she's not knowing my dark past. She's not knowing really about me, only what I'm letting her know, So with that being said, I could fast forward back into my drug addiction. I went for from the club scene. Me and her friends and my friends clubbing every week. Everything's fun and whoop, whoop, whoop. And, you know, clubs got to getting shut down and because of the gangs was messing up everything in Portland. And that's when I started being in the streets more than being in the clubs and having fun. And the more I got into the streets of making money again, it was that ball effect again, doing drugs again. Okay, stay up all night, bam, make money. Same thing. Nothing changed. Uncle was telling the truth, you know, only if I would have listened then. What's that saying? You already know what I'm saying.
Yeah, it just gets progressively worse.
Yes, progressively worse. And doing the same thing, expecting to see a different outcome.
Insanity.
Yes. And I was insane, bro. It's just.
Wherever you go, there Rob is.
I was the problem. I can laugh now by the grace of God because God allowed me to go through a lot of darkness in my life, man. And here I am now. Wow. You know, so yeah, man, I ended up marrying my wife. Young European young lady, beautiful person, man. I love that girl. Man, I'm getting emotional thing about it. Whether you know it or not, today is our 15-year anniversary, so a happy anniversary to us.
Congratulations.
Oh, man, by the grace of God, man, we made it through. You know, life is beautiful now. Oh, please forgive me. Excuse me, man. It's just, these are happy tears right now, man, for those that can't see what Kevin is seeing across this table right now, man, is God has allowed me to go through a lot of stuff. Anybody else probably would have took their life, man, and would have gave up. It's real deep, man. Just sitting here telling my story and thinking about it. It's like, wow, you know, I didn't even know I can speak this much about my story. I thought it was like, nah, I ain't gonna speak that long. But it's a lot of stuff to unpack, man. I'm just very grateful for my wife, man. I'm very grateful for her heart. I'm very grateful for her willpower. I'm very grateful for her strength that God has given her. To be with a fool like me at that time, man. Like I said, man, she met the polished up Rob at the time. You know, I polished myself up real quick, bam. Put on this facade and this manipulating attitude for a couple of years for her to see this guy that she thought she loved, to where I fell back into my addiction and she seen the dark side of me. And I went through another hardcore fall, man, rock bottom. I'm like, this is the bottom of the bottoms, to where my wife was asking me to get some help, to where I tried to do the church thing without really getting some help. And I want to say this right here. One thing is that everybody got different avenues and different ways of handling their life. It's not a blanket for everybody. Some things just don't work for a lot of people. You know, I did the church thing on and off through the spurts of my addiction, even in LA. And I always fell back into it because I really wasn't getting no help. I tried to just cover it up with God without really sitting down with a group of people or one person and really unpacking this stuff. Like I'm telling my story, helping somebody right now, but at the same time, this is therapy for me, and it's therapy for my brother that's hearing it right now, and for the other ears that's going to hear it, because they see how my life is now and see what I've been through. You know, and I do believe that God allowed me to go through all of that, man. Still have all my limbs. I'm very healthy today. By the grace of God, I'm not on no medication. I'm not on no psych pills, no nothing. All I take is vitamins, work out, and I go to work. You know, not a 9 to 5, anywhere from 5 to 5 and probably even longer. I do some long, hard work, man, some real good work, and I'm very grateful. But with that being said, I'm very grateful for my wife for sticking with me through that rock bottom. You know, because I know what I done with the past relationships with my kids' mom. You know, and she was addiction. She went through addiction with me too, and she was addiction. She was an addict too. But my wife, she was that square, man. She don't know nothing about this. She don't know nothing about no street life. She know nothing about no drugs. She knew nothing about none of that, man. And I contaminated her life with my life, man. You know, that's why I told her this morning when I got up. I was just telling her, damn, today is our anniversary, and but I'm just like letting her know how much I appreciate her, how much I love her, how much she mean to me. And I told her, you must be one crazy ass woman to stick with me. And she just laughed, and we both laughed because we know what God allowed us to come out of, man. You know, it's one thing that somebody can't tell me, that God don't work and AA don't work, because I know it saved my life and saved many other people's lives. So
tell me a little bit about your program.
Yeah, I will. I'm gonna share this dark moment, and I'm gonna go into my program.
Perfect.
I'm glad you said that. I want people to know, I don't want to hold back. I want people to see my rock bottom. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it like my uncle told me. Don't sugarcoat nothing, man. It got so bad with my wife to where she had to evict me out of the house. She had to put a restraining order on me because I wouldn't go and get no help. I wouldn't go get into a drug program. And so it got so bad to where I chose doing drugs, running the streets, sleeping in downtown Portland tents, getting high with drug addicts on the street when I had a beautiful wife at home. I mean, can you imagine that? I want people to really imagine that. Like I had a choice. It's some people out here that don't have a choice. It's people out here that's stuck on that stuff that don't have a home to go back to. I had a choice, man, and I chose to go to that. That's insanity. You know, and so to fast forward out of that into my recovery, man, I really wanted to paint that picture of that's my rock bottom. That was a very dark moment in my life to where, wow, man. And I got that phone call again. I ended up going to jail. Thank God. It was the best 30 days of my life in jail because it helped me really start my sobriety. And from there, I didn't look back. I remember sitting in that jailhouse and the lady coming to me, my public defender, coming to me, and it was a program called Stop Court, I think Stop Court back then. And this was a drug program that Oregon had, the best drug program. I wish they would bring it back, man. It saved my life. It helped save my life. That was one of the tools that helped save my life was the Stop program. And this program was very, very intense. I remember that lady telling me through the glass, like, you know, I had this restraining order on me. I got caught with drugs. Bam. Okay, I just knew I was done. But stop court got me out, you know, and the lady come to me and she says, well, I got this program that the DA is trying to offer right now is stop court. Do you want to do it? And I'm like, hey, what is it? You know, anything to get me out of here real quick, you know? And that's the way, you know. And she's like, well, it's a year program. You have to see a judge for the first 3 months. You have to see a judge once a week. And then depending on how good your program is, it goes once a month. You're going to get the urine test call every day for your number, Monday through Friday. I mean, you know, you have to go through 3 classes a week for a whole year, and you got to stay sober. And they're going to show you how to live again. And that program was very intense. And I guess that they didn't have too many people that went through that program and graduated, because the way she painted it, it's like, if that's too intense to you, I can probably go back to the DA and get you like one of those little 3-month programs. And I was like, no. And she like sat back in her chair. She's like, what's going on? And I said, no, I need that program. And that was the first time in my life, man, I was willing to go to a program. I was willing to not be manipulating Rob. I was one day that I was willing to open my heart, my mind, and my eyes and my ears, and to really just, okay, it's time to get my ish together. I have a beautiful wife outside these walls. My marriage is hanging on to the dear life. She's probably signing divorce papers right now as I'm sitting in the jailhouse, which she was. So, my public defender, she was shocked, man, when I said I wanted that program, and she was blown back. She literally sat back in her chair, her eyes open, like, "Whoa, for real? You want to take that program?" I want that program. Matter of fact, if you got a program to where I can go from this jailhouse and go into an inpatient for a year, that'll be even better. And she's like, what? She said, well, this stop program is an outpatient. I said, see if you could talk to the judge or the DA to put me in an inpatient. She's like, whoa, I have never heard this before. Normally people try to talk themselves into a lesser program. And I told her, no, I'm too old now. And, you know, I'm 43. I was 43 at the time. It's time to stop running. You know, this addiction of mine has tore my life down and tore plenty of relationships up in my life. And right now, my marriage is on the verge of divorce right now. And I need to do something. I need to man up. And that lady was like, whoa, she was blown away, man. She's like, you know what? I got to give you props. She said, you are the first to tell me something like this. You know, and it's the first thing. It's the first time for everything. You know, by the grace of God, I'm glad he gave me that time to get my mind in a way to where, okay, enough is enough, and take advantage of the programs and the tools that life had for me. I spent 30 days in jail, got out, did stop program. I'm staying at a shelter at this time. Still had the no contact order, so I'm not supposed to contact the wife. I'm going to church, I'm going to church, doing my program, staying in contact with my PO weekly, and staying in the shelter and looking fresh, looking good, back to the fresh Rob, the Rob that I know that I could be. Without anything, without drugs, without weed, without alcohol. My mind is getting right. I'm starting to feel good about myself. You know, staying at the shelter, I'm even like got a job with a friend. I started doing this painting with a friend of mine. And it's funny, speaking of painting, I even started working for you too in that time of day.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I even worked with you a while back then.
That's right.
But that's when I had some sobriety up under my belt.
Yep.
But yeah, man, I started looking at front of employment and start taking life a lot more serious. And you know, that's one thing I like to do, man. When I'm doing good in life and starting to feel good about myself, I like other people to see. So I was on Facebook posting pictures, whoop, and I got that phone call again. You know who? Uncle James. Gave it to me like I didn't want to hear it. What the hell, man? I'm like probably 2 months out of jail right now. Only 2 months sobriety. That ain't nothing. That's why they say one day at a time, man. It don't get too big-headed. And my uncle gave me that. He gave me that phone call that I needed to hear. He smacked me with reality again. That's why I said, man, I love him, man. I appreciate him. My wife do too. Because he spoke the truth to me. He said, man, what's up with you? And I'm like, oh no, man, just getting it together, finally. Whoa. It's like, man, that's all fine and dandy. It's cool. Hear you in the program and all that. But I'm just going to let you know, man, stay off the Facebook. Stay off the Instagram. Shut all that shit down, bro. And really dig down deep in and do this program, man. You got a wife, man. You almost ruined her life with this shit. You need to really get it together and take life serious, man. Ain't nothing, no fun and games. And I'm like, whoa, damn, okay. Reality check again. This is happy, Rob. I'm happy I'm sober. I'm like, and Uncle just smacked me, man. He just like, man, only the real can appreciate when people come at you with the real, and I appreciated that.
He knew that pink cloud would wear off.
Thank you. Yes, he did. He did. So yeah, Uncle smacked me with it, man, and I ain't gonna lie. The minute I got off the phone with him, I'm standing on side of a gas station, just checked out because the shelter I'm in, you got to check out every morning. So I just checked out, ate breakfast, and I'm standing on the street corner with my roller bag with my brand new clothes and shoes and looking fresh out there, not even looking like I'm staying in the shelter. And Uncle just got off the phone with me with some serious stuff, man, and really told me, man, don't play with this, man. This is your life. And I'm like, okay. So I got off the phone with him, man. I shut my Instagram down. I shut my Facebook down. And then all of a sudden I started getting phone calls from my brother like, bam, bro, what's going on? I see your social media down. You good? You good? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm just taking it serious right now. And he's like, oh, okay. I'm kind of worried about you, bro. And my family know me. It's like, okay, we don't see what's going on. So, and I'm like, nah, I just had a phone call with Uncle James and this is what he said. And he's like, oh, shit, okay. So from then on, man, I didn't look back. I went through that STOP program, bam, with flying colors, not one relapse, not one dirty piss test the whole year. I went to every class on time. I went to every the drug-appointed court appointment on time. Bam. Went through the whole program, flying colors. I come out on the other end. And within that, me and my wife, man, we're something else. I love that girl. Within that no contact, me and her, we were still sneaking around. And the PO was like, he even asked me, he tried to trick me up one time. He's like, man, have you heard anything from your wife? I'm like, no, man, why would I? Just out the blue. And this is the time me and her she seen me doing good, and it was before I shut the social media down. She seen me doing good and she unblocked me on Facebook. I happened to, so when I seen her, I was on her Facebook and she unblocked me. So I was like, okay, this might be the cue that I can call. I was coming from church one day, bam, and just pulled up on the phone booth. People don't know the phone booth was active back then. 10 years ago. I don't know. Was it a phone booth? It was a phone booth because I didn't want her to see my telephone number. So I called her from the phone booth right off the metro rail. Bam, got off the train and I called her and she's like, hello? I'm like, hello? She's like, Rob? I'm like, yeah, what's up, babe? She's like, what's up? How you doing? I'm like, doing a lot better. And this is like 3-4 months into my sobriety then. At the time I'm calling her and she said, I see you doing a lot better. You got you a place to stay now. And I'm like, yeah. Got out of jail. Bam. This is the program they gave me. I got to do this program or else. Bam, 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 bam. Run the whole thing down to her. I told her, I said, I'm not even supposed to be talking to you right now. So please just keep this phone call between you and I. And she said, I know. She said, don't trip. Just do what you're supposed to do and everything else will fall in place. And I said, all right. And right before I got off the phone with her, she's like, where you staying at? I said, oh, I'm staying out here in Beaverton. She's like, oh, is that right? She said, can I come see you? And I'm like, what? I'm like, girl, we just said we're not supposed to be around each other, let alone be on the phone. And just to fast forward, man, my wife came to see me, man, and I was able to make my amends. I was able to make my amends, man, and just patch things back up with her. Like they say, one day at a time, man, everything gradually start to happen. I went through my 1-year program, like I was saying, before I threw all of that in. Got off the 1-year program. I graduated flying colors. My wife was in the courtroom. She didn't make herself known, but she sat in the back of the courtroom, supported me, and wasn't even supposed to be there with me. And it's like, wow, bro, okay, I can't play with this now. God is doing something. He's patched my marriage back up. I got a year sobriety up under my belt. What do I do now? And I forgot to put in that in the midst of me getting kicked out of the house and running the streets and drugging, one of my manipulative moves is I was going to AA. I was going to AA meetings right here in Beaverton, Oregon. I was going to AA meetings, sending pictures to my wife with other people's cell phone because I didn't have a phone back then. That's how bad I was doing. I'm like, babe, see, look, I'm in a program and, trying to get back into the house and, when I'm under that restraining order. And she's like, no. You need, okay, I see. Yeah, whatever, So that's how I got connected with AA out here. I already knew about AA because, like I said, my dad and my aunts and uncles, many years clean sobriety, my dad rests in peace right now, but my aunts and uncles still in the program right now, many years. So with that being said, after I graduated a 1-year program, I said, okay, my wife is back with me. I have employment. I'm not hustling. I'm not on drugs or alcohol. I need to continue to stay strong and focused. And I forgot to tell you, that phone call that my uncle told me, I don't want to hear nothing about you on the social media. I don't want to see you. I don't want to hear from you unless you got 1 year clean under your belt. And so when I graduated that class, I walked out that court with that certificate in my hand, went to AA meeting, me and my wife, we ate, and I called my uncle that day. And I told him, bro, I just graduated this 1-year program. No relapses, no whoop-de-whoop. I just ran the whole thing now. He's like, man, that's what I'm talking about. His whole energy. He was that one, man. He was that one that God used to keep me in check when I really needed it. He was that one to reward me and make me feel that, bam, okay, bam, I'm back. I'm part of the family again. Everybody else, my mom going through cancer at the time, she had to go through my addiction when she's going through her cancer and going to the hospital and all that and going through her stuff. My wife had to deal with me. But with all of that being said, they can only say so much and do so much. My uncle was the one to keep me in check. So it felt good to give him that phone call, man, after that 1 year. And I told my wife, she's like, man, how's it feel? And she always told me, just do a 1-year program and we'll be good. And I told her, when I walked out that courtroom, I said, you know what? 1-year program is not good enough. I need to continue to do something in my life that's going to bring purpose and bring meaning to my life, for me to be that person and that man that I need to be, and that husband that I need to be, to live my life and to help others. And that was one thing, man, that I got to say that my dad always told me as a young kid, man. Don't ever go through life, man, doing so good to where you forget those that's doing less fortunate than you. Always reach out and help somebody. If it's sitting down on a street corner talking to a homeless person, or helping a guy or a gal out with a meal. And I always kept that attitude, man, and I do to this day, man. And it's a beautiful feeling, man, to be sober right now, you know, faithfully going to AA meetings, no PO, nobody forcing me or yelling or screaming for me to stay sober or go to a meeting. I'm doing this willingly because I was finally tired of being sick and tired, you know. And yeah, I just got to give that shout out to my wife, you know, my mom, my Uncle James, and even other friends that went through this with me, that had those talks with me, that took time out of their important day to come and sit down when Rob was high off his behind, and to speak hope into my life, man. And here it is. Wow. It's unbelievable, man. I never thought that I would see myself clean and sober, man. Not a drink, not a smoke. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't smoke weed. I don't drink. I don't take no medication. I'm very healthy by the grace of God. I'm mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and even financially stable. And that's through me opening my heart and my life up to the program of AA. AA has been my foundation to keep me going in this race right now that we call life. AA has been that room, that group, and that family to where I can go into a room and just unload my everything on my chest out to them. Don't have to sugarcoat it, don't have to hold back, and just tell them like it is. And at the same time, I'm releasing something off my chest, but I'm helping those that's in the room, and I can get feedback.
Man, Rob, I love your story. Couple
it's a beautiful thing.
Couple things. My mom adores you. She loves you to death. She follows you on Facebook. Rob is back on Facebook.
Yes. Yeah. I'm
and
back
Rob,
on Facebook.
you are a beacon of positivity.
Oh, man. Thank you, brother.
Rob posts up when he's at a meeting, when he's got an annual birthday.
Yes.
Just positive vibes.
Yes.
In all caps.
Yes. Thank you. Yep.
Like he's shouting.
Yep. I'm a loudspeaker.
And I love it.
Yes.
You know,
thank you, brother. I appreciate
you. You and me, I'm the same on face. Every year when I have my birthday, I love to take a picture of a coin.
Yes.
Put the coin up with my years of sobriety.
Yes.
And tell a little story about my life. And inevitably, I think that I get one or two people that messenger me.
Yes.
Like, hey, man, or sometimes it's the person directly, or
Yes.
sometimes it's the mother that thinks their kid should get sober.
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
you need to talk to my son.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you can't want it more than he does.
Yes.
He's got to reach out to me because he wants it, or
And
it's
that's
never going to work.
That is true.
How about you give me a little bit of advice for a newcomer, maybe someone who's considering getting sober, on the fence, or maybe they're new to the rooms. They just found this podcast. Give us a little bit of advice for a newcomer.
Advice for a newcomer. Well, let me say this to the ones that's not newcomers, that's in the program. Don't be afraid to share your story. Getting those happy tears again, emotional. I went through life hiding a lot of stuff, man. And my mom always told me when she was going through her cancer and going through these hospitals and the chemo and all that, and she used to have those phone calls with me, and she said, baby, you need to get into a program and share your story. You never know, man. You're going to save people's lives with your story. God is going to turn it around for you. So with that being said, don't be afraid to share your story. And to the newcomer, don't be afraid to go get help. You have that group of people, and it's very small nowadays, thank God, that they make it seem like when I was growing up back then, oh, everything's frowned upon. Yeah, it's frowned upon, but the group that's bigger of support and that's there to willing to help you if you just ask for it with open arms is ready for you. So newcomer, get rid of that fear. Get rid of that voice in your head telling you, oh, they're going to talk bad about you, or, oh, no, there is a group of people out here in this world that's willing to help, and I'm just one out of the multi-million that's willing to help. And that's why I use my Facebook, because I used to be afraid to speak about my addiction. I used to be afraid to speak about what I went through and how I went through it. But now that I see how many lives has changed through my sobriety and through my story, and by me being open and transparent, I've changed a lot of people's lives, man. It's people daily that, or weekly or monthly, hit my inbox. Bam. Thank you, bro. Thank you for what you're doing on Facebook. You just don't know. Just you sharing your story is encouraging me. And I'll end with this, man. Just don't be afraid. Even me being involved with the car scene now, I've noticed that even people are hitting me up. I've been able to counsel youngsters, man, through these car shows and events. It's people going through things in their life right now. So don't be afraid. Just get rid of the fear, man. It is many resources out there. I know a lot of, you hear all this echo, oh, man, it ain't enough resources. That's a lie. That's a lie, man. You just heard my story, man. Come on. It's people out here that's willing to help. Just get rid of the fear. And believe me, and watch God do what he can do in your life. I think that can end on that note, huh?
Perfect. Rob, love you, buddy.
I love you, man.
In.
Thank you, man, for having me. I appreciate you.
All right, thanks. Thanks for listening to the Jaywalkers Recovery Podcast. This podcast is meant to provide support and inspiration for those on a journey of recovery. We are not affiliated with any specific 12-step groups as per their traditions. Our goal is to share personal experiences and insights that may be helpful to listeners in their own recovery process. Please consult with a healthcare professional or therapist for personalized advice and guidance. If you've enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Thanks for listening to the show.